Hello, we're here with co-CEOs of Gensler, Andy Cohen and Diane Hoskins. Diane is also our board member and is an alum. Thank you for being here. And this is a unique arrangement, this co-CEO thing. And it sounds like you went from one founder to a situation of 3 co-CEOs and now 2. So talk about how this all evolved.
Oh. All right, well, let's dive in. It sounded far more complicated than it really was. So, you know, and by the way, it's great to be here and have this wonderful conversation with you guys. We really, and the firm is, I guess we're 50-something years old. When the firm was around 40 years old, our founder turned 70, and he decided, you know what, I'm going to start the transition. And by the way, he's 84 and still isn't transitioned. So it's, you know, but the day-to-day, he wanted to transition to the next generation. And I think he made a really good decision along with our board of directors. And I know he counseled with a lot of outside folks too, that it was like, don't try to replace yourself. Don't look for that person who's exactly like you. Think about the future of the firm, think about things differently, shake it up, do something totally different. And, you know, and our board was part of that conversation as well. And so, you know, he floated the idea to each of us, and we had all worked in the firm for, you know, 10+ years together. It was like, of course, that would be amazing, it would be fun, it would be incredible. So, you know, it's been great, and we've been doing this for about 14 years now, and really, I think the firm, and when we look at, we've tripled the size of the firm in that time. We're $1.4 billion in revenue. I think it really unlocks something for us to have that kind of model.
You know, we're really about collaborative leadership, and so we have grown over the last 14 years. We grew from about 2,000 people to close to 6,000 people now. And we're practicing in 14 countries. We worked in over 100 countries last year. So for us and our firm, it's about collaborative leadership teams in most cases. So we usually have, whether it's an office or a practice area, 2 leaders. And we really believe in that collaborative leadership. Usually it's a team that has different focuses, but together we believe 1 + 1 = 5. And that narrative that goes along with that of collaborative leadership starts at the top. So we believed after the founder mentality to transition to the collaborative leadership mentality really made a lot of sense. And it emanates through our culture throughout the firm. This idea of collaboration, that design is about collaboration, and you know, we focus a lot on research around the world, and it's always about collaborative teams working together.
But you're 2 different individuals. You bring different backgrounds, different experiences. Like all of us, we're 2 different people. You're teaching a class. We agree, we disagree. But sometime a decision has to be made, and you think it's A and you think it's B. So how do you resolve that? You absolutely feel it's A, and you absolutely feel it's B. What is your process for resolving that conflict? Even if it's in the small little corner of a room together, how do you resolve that?
Well,
Go for it, go for it.
Well, I tell you,
See, that's how we do it.
This is how we do it. It is amazing. I mean, Diane and I have been working together for 23 years, and we have this incredible trust and respect for each other. We actually finish each other's sentences. And like you said, Peter, we are very different individuals with very different backgrounds. But together we have so much respect for each other. We bounce ideas off each other constantly. And when we're faced with a decision, usually we're deferring to one another and saying, you know what, well, let's go with your idea on this one, or let's go with my idea on this one. Usually around, you know, what we believe in that situation. But I would say 98% of the time, usually we're thinking a lot alike. From different perspectives, but a lot alike. And when it comes down to that final moment, we'll defer to each other. Literally at the same time. You got that one, I have that one. We have that much trust and respect in each other.
Yeah, you know, honestly, it really is by working together a lot that we understand the other's point of view. And you're right. I mean, you got to make a decision at some point, and sometimes you know, you want to do X, I want to do Y. Sometimes it does come down to how strongly one of us really feels it should be one direction or the other. And, you know, if it's deferring to something, you know, in more where Andy would like to take it, usually if I feel like, you know what, I think that's a great idea, I'm like, let's go for it. Or he'll feel the same way. Look, if you really think it should be that way, let's do it. I'm not seeing the same thing you're seeing, but I know you know what you're doing. And that's where we go with it.
And outside of the room when that decision's made, it's always your decision. That you never say, "Oh, I didn't agree with it," or "I didn't." Once you make that decision, there's no division of who made that decision.
Exactly.
We are one.
Yeah.
We are really one team.
That's the key.
It is the key.
Yeah.
Complete trust.
And how do others know who does what? Whether others are the employees or the board, who's responsible for what? It can't be that you both do everything.
There are parts where we used to, and we kind of do it much more loosely now. But when we first were doing this, we had what we called the on-point chart. Who's on point for each thing? So that we could do a lot more divide and conquer, and people would know. And and then 2 years later, we would literally rotate every single thing on that chart to the other person, and literally deliberately. And even how we present. You kicked off last time, I kick off this time. You closed last time, I close this time. We literally track to make sure that we're kind of doing different things, because also it keeps it interesting that you're not doing the same things. And also, we want to make sure that people who are working with us don't see it as, oh, Andy always does this and Diane always does that, and doesn't understand it's both of us having,
I understand that in a business way, but I don't know, you're in a creative business. I mean, truly creative business. That's my business. At some point, you're both sitting in the room, and I'm the client, or somebody else is the client, and it says, we think we should have 30,000 seats, or we think we should build 4 buildings. And looking at you, you say, I think we should build 4 buildings. You say, yeah, it should be 30,000 seats. How do you reconcile that in the room with the client?
We don't do it with clients.
Yeah, we don't do it a lot with clients.
Usually, I'm on one, he's on another. Yeah, we don't do it with clients.
Diane's in D.C., I'm in Los Angeles. We're traveling around the world. So I'll just add one other thing. We call it the one firm culture. And our culture is about having an integrated, seamless practice around the world, because so many clients like you, Peter, are coming to us for multiple projects in multiple cities. And you demand seamless service. And so us being seamless is extremely important to the organization and to our clients to know that there's this integrated approach. That you can pick up the phone or email around the world and you're going to get that response in any one city. So we really feel like we're the foundation for that culture, which is so vital. And if we ever separate each other, it can really hurt the organization.
So let me just ask one other thing. Does the title of chairman rotate?
Yes. It does.
It does.
It does. Actually, Andy was chairman the last 3 years. I'm chairman now for the next, 2.5 more years. Someone else will be chairman after that. There's a whole, succession of different individuals who will play the role of chairman of our board. So yes, that rotates.
We have an operating board.
Yeah.
So it's not, we have board advisors, but we have an operating board. So we rotate, our executive committee, which is 5 people, has rotated over the years, every 3 years.
You have a founder, Art Gensler, who I know I started with 30 years ago. I was a client of his, Sony and theaters and Lowe's. Oh, wow. And and it seemed to me that Art was the patriarch of the organization. Can you really deal with clients with 2 multiple leaders, or do you have to say you're in charge of the project in Berlin, and that you may seek her advice, or you're in charge of it and you may seek her, but ultimately you're the one that's going to make the call? Is that the way it works?
The way our firm works is that there's a principal in charge of that project. We have, 270 principals in our firm. They are the final say, and we support them.
I got you.
And so in that way, every single client has someone who's making decisions and able to leverage anything about our firm and who is accountable.
But we also divide and conquer too. I mean, we'll say we're taking on a certain assignment and I'm on point on that assignment, whether it's a client or a practice area or research, that I'm on point. We constantly are exchanging ideas that one of us is on point, or frankly dealing with remedial issues in the firm, that one of us is on point. We don't double team a lot of things.
So I have another totally different question, and it's a softball to you guys, but it's interesting. And that is, how do you build culture through space design, through spatial design? And I know that is something that you could go on for an hour about.
Absolutely.
But in a nutshell, how, because we were talking about managing up and across, how do you create those relationships through spatial design?
Well, you know, this is such an important topic right now because, you know, we're all familiar with co-working and dispersing people out there outside of, let's say, a headquarters or space that's, you know, controlled by an organization. And, you know, there's reasons for and a purpose for those kinds of spaces. But one of the things that the organizations we work with are so laser focused on is that building of the culture, building of the brand, creating that total engagement with people that work there. And so, you know, how does the space do that? It's everything from having those kind of places where people can meet and come together, thinking about the space as a community, and those kinds of places that really do kind of feed the community, places where, you know, the coffee area, the places where people meet, those larger spaces where you have gatherings, the kind of places where people walk and serendipitously, you know, run into each other. And even from the design itself, reflecting the values and the brand of the organization. And, you know, we're seeing so many clients who had, you know, dispersed workforces, you know, trying to bring people back in, investing significant dollars to really create those places that are not only going to draw people in, but help people to innovate, which we know happens more when people are together. And, you know, that collaboration that's essential for that kind of innovation, and even the clients being in the space as well as part of that brand community and you know, what that corporate culture is all about. So space plays a key role. And, you know, again, it's kind of a place right now, and there's a lot of conversations. There was a great article in the Wall Street Journal, and some of our folks were quoted. You know, the workplace is actually one of the most interesting places of disruption right now. And, you know, again, because we have so much experience in that area, it's really important for us to have a voice in helping to drive solutions that really are going to build organizations.
I think Diane hit it on the head. I mean, we're focused a lot right now on experiential design. In fact, a lot of our research is around what creates great places and spaces, whether it's in the workplace or a stadium or any type of mixed-use project. It really is about the brand of the organization, the brand of the client, and that culture coming through. Like Diane said, our clients are coming to us over and over again for a differentiated competitive advantage, for innovation, and how people can innovate in these places. And so it really is the essence of an organization. We say over and over again, space and place matters, that innovation matters in these kind of environments.
I have one last question. You're in a creative business. You're in, I don't want to say show business, but a creative business. You're creating a product, a physical product that people have emotions around, right, that people are going to want to be drawn to or stay away from. And ultimately, when you have that, how do you build a collaborative, creative workforce in your organization? Is it vertically integrated? Is it horizontally integrated? How do you do that to get the best creative decisions? Not a compromise on every issue, because that is not, that's a Rube Goldberg it ends up with. How do you keep that singular view in an organization your size on a project?
Well, it all starts with a vision, right? And our vision is to create a better world through the power of design. And, you know, every 10 years we come up with a vision for our firm, and our people are laser focused on making a difference in the world. And so first and foremost, it's that at the top, that strategic vision. Then we have specific groups of people focused on different areas of innovation, whether it's areas of practice, like I said, office, stadiums, mixed-use projects, law firms, areas of practice, client relationships focused on, laser focused on our clients and relationships. Another one is design, and design, what we call design synergy, was about the visceral experiences that we're creating for our clients. And so, you know, these areas, and then the last piece is our geographic reach that we're having and making sure we're embedded in that local culture. So at the end of the day, this mix of talent, this mix of innovation coming from different perspectives. One thing we haven't talked about is diversity and how important that is in the workplace today. And our firm is diverse. We speak hundreds of languages, you know, coming from different cultures, and we believe that innovation happens when you bring people from different perspectives together. Not homogenized decisions, but different perspectives together, and that's what creates those innovative projects that we believe are making benchmarks around the world.
We have to end, and we thank you for the span of interesting issues that you talked about, both leadership and design. So thank you both for being here.
Thank you. Appreciate it a lot.
Thank you. Great conversation.